Welcome to the Six Again podcast, your new destination for all things NRL. Here to bring you everything from team news to best bets are your hosts Adam Hoy and Jarrod Newton. Let's kick off.
Welcome to Six Again, guys. Jarrod is back from his little hiatus. We're up to episode 45. And we'd like to say we missed you, Jarrod, but...
Was that all you got? So you're going to stop there?
Yeah, I was just going to stop there. I was letting you jump in on that one.
All right. I thought you were actually going to give me a compliment about my
No.
my knowledge of rugby league.
Oh, yeah, that was... I was going to say that, but then I was thinking back to Kieran's insightful analysis that they brought to the table.
What was that? What was his most insightful analysis?
Yep. Nah, good on you, Kieran. He did a great job filling in. Jarrod just couldn't get back last episode. All that up Harvey Bay way. It's like the retirement capital of Australia, isn't it? There in Canberra.
Oh yeah. There's nothing there. Nothing there but work.
For all our overseas listeners, if you do come over here, Harvey Bay is pretty much known for whale watching and old people. Not much else. So you can probably skip by, but yeah, on the topic of overseas listeners, we want to welcome in. We've got our estimated audience size is increasing every week. We're pushing 2,300 downloads now, our streams off different podcast platforms. Just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's continuing to support the show, and we're going to keep cracking on through the season. So, thanks to everybody, and hope you enjoy this one like the rest. And pretty much all the news we've got have been more around signings and droppings, players than anything else. But where do you want to start? Origin talk? It's never too early for Origin, is it?
What Origin talk is there already? Are you going to piss me off with this?
I doubt it's going to happen anyway, but league's always looking for stuff to talk about. So Kevin Walters he has done every year for the last few years, kept the door open for Greg Inglis and Cam Smith to play Origin this year, due to it being at a different time of the year. And technically, Inglis wouldn't have taken up his deal yet for Warrington, so the Super League's not going to take effect because he's not meant to be playing with them till 2021. Cam Smith, if it is his last year, could be something he'll do at the end of the season, considering what was one of his reasons last time? There's too much on the body, or et cetera, through the middle of the season. But if Melbourne make it to the grand final, he's only going to get a week break anyway. So, I don't know. Angry or not, Jarrod?
Oh, no, I'm not a fan of bringing him over from England, to be honest. I reckon that's crap.
I think Inglis will still be here because he's still in Australia. I don't think he's actually gone over yet.
To be honest, I think Inglis would be more of a detriment to the team than anything. He was...
Have you seen him lately?
You haven't played in almost 2 years and you walk onto an Origin field.
Yeah.
That is like 0 to 1,000 very quick. And look, this is going to be really piss people off. But he was horrible in his last series, so it's Queensland.
No, he was. He had like 12 dominance leading up to that.
Yeah, no. Like he was one of the most dominant players ever. I maintain he played 2 years too long. I think it was his knees that were busted, or his shoulder. Yeah.
But at the moment,
when he was captain,
pretty solid.
Yeah, when he was captain,
that
was like his worst series ever. He made a lot of mistakes. He wasn't as dominant. So I'm not out to criticise Greg Inglis because he is Greg Inglis. I just don't think that'd be the right option for Queensland as far as putting him in an Origin game after not playing for 2 years. As far as Cameron Smith, he's still the best hooker in the world. I doubt he will do it, to be honest, but, anything could happen.
Because Warrington, they know they're not getting him till 2021, but he's working out based off a program that the head of sports performance has sent over for him. So he's still in full training. He's lost a little bit of the weight that he was putting on. He looks pretty damn good. And he's still only 33. His body's older than that, but that's his age. And
if he's been knocked around a lot. He's played. I think his record in a season was close to. Well, his World Cup year was close to 40 games a year of top flight rugby league. So, and he did that, 5 to 6, 7 times in his career, played 40 games of. So his body would be an absolute mess, and
I just think it's too much in their abilities.
I just think it's too much for a risk because there's no substitute for actual game time.
I know, game. Inglis could play half as well as he can and still be better than any centre Queensland can pick. That's the downside for Queensland.
Fuck, you have some faith, don't you?
You hear the names that Kevin Walters were throwing up?
Yeah. Michael Morgan's back this weekend.
Oh, great. He mentioned Gebasaki from the freaking Knights as being impressive.
Shibasaki.
He
did not. He just got dropped from Newcastle. Did he mention him?
He mentioned him, and I'm like, if you're mentioning him, you are scraping.
Okay, because we are not gonna have Latrell Mitchell.
And
so I mean, he is that far ahead of all your centers by the looks of it, and we're not even gonna pick him.
Yep. So as I said, guys like Dane Gagai, and I see Gamet Shibasaki is going to come back this weekend for Newcastle. Rah, rah, rah. I'm like, man, if Inglis is confident and fit, he walks on there as the best centre of either side. I want him on the field.
No, not either side.
Yeah, either side.
Nah, Trbojevic would be ahead of him.
Nah, I'd pick Inglis over Trbojevic. If he's coming back confident at full fitness, he's so far.
You and me very disagreed on Greg Inglis.
He's the greatest centre that we'll ever see.
No, I'm not denying that. I'm saying he's not anymore.
No, he's not at that level anymore, but when he was at that level, he was so far ahead of everyone that he could come down to other levels.
He was incredible. One of the best of it. Well, like you said, the best centre I've ever seen. And you got to remember, he also won a grand final at 5'8", and also won a grand final at fullback.
I know.
So he was the elite of elite. I wouldn't say he's immortal status, but he was incredible.
He's immortal. He'll be an immortal, damn straight.
But
100%.
The thing about it is he hasn't played in 2 years. There's no substitute for game time, like I said.
No, there is.
And
it's 3 games, not 12 or 14.
Yeah, but he's going to take the third game to get to fully game fit, and by that point, it's probably all gone.
It still comes back to my point. He's still better than anything Queensland could pick.
You'll be right. Pick a
New South Wales Empire as a centre. Freaking
look, the reality is, I wouldn't be surprised if you pick, Bradman Best for Queensland.
Is he a Queenslander?
No, but neither is Greg Inglis. But what the fuck? Knowing you guys, you'd probably pick a.
Hey, Arthur Beetson played for New South Wales for however many years.
Yeah, why wouldn't he? They won for 60 years in a row.
Yeah.
Point is that you guys checked. Moving on. Signings. So I think the most.
We're going straight into signings.
Oh, is there anything else? Because I want to talk about Brad Arthur. I'm stoked about that for Parramatta.
Hey, that's a quick one. Yeah, go for that one.
Yeah, so do you know what? The reason I'm so stoked for them is because they only signed him to 2022. So, when you look at teams like Dragons, Penrith, I think recently, other teams that were struggling in the last couple of years, Dragons especially put McGregor on. I think they gave him a 4-year contract. And they went, look, here's your team for the next 4 years. And then they started doing bad, and now they're looking to have to pay him out. Brad Arthur, he's gone, here's 2 more years. You're in the top 4 now.
Yeah.
Top 4? Yeah, they're not 1 anymore. Here's 2 more years. We're making you earn your next contract.
I think one difference there is he's already 7 years into this job at Parramatta. 2022.
Yeah, so was McGregor. So was McGregor when they gave him a 4-year extension 2 years ago. Yeah, he was there since 2000. Oh, so like 2014 or something. He started coaching then, I reckon, something like that. And so he was there for about 5 years before, and then they gave him an extra 4 years on top of that.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's a stuff up.
Yeah, so that's what I like about it. They haven't thrown everything at him. They're going, look, mate, you're doing really well. We're really happy with how it's progressing. But with the coaching circus, how it is currently, we're going to give you 2 years. We trust what you're doing, but you got to earn your next contract, keep these players to the standard they're playing.
And we know that if Parramatta does well this year, they'll be wooden spooners next year. So 2022, you'll have to get them back to the finals, and you'll look even better.
So I love it. I reckon that's smart by Parramatta. They're not giving long-term contracts to coaches with the current climate.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably told him, if you make the top 8 for the next couple of years, we're going to guarantee you a contract. You just got to do that.
Yeah. And
so
it'd have to be an absolute shitstorm for them not to do that.
Exactly. So with the team they've got, so I reckon, it's one. And the other great signing I reckon's going on, if you want to keep going down this track, is Ricky Latelli for Melbourne.
Oh, no, I was going to come to them. There's specific signings in the signing section.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I was going to say, if you're talking about coaches and signings, this is a little bit different, and we're going to talk about Blake Green's signing for Newcastle again later. But what I wanted to talk more about was Todd Payten's comments, and with regards to how this exit was created for the Warriors. So we heard a couple of weeks ago that the Warriors board, no, it was last week, sorry, said we're not going to stand in the way of Green if he finds something more lucrative, et cetera, et cetera. But basically, Todd Payten was asked about Blake Green's surprise departure of the Knights this week, and he literally was, I wasn't happy, mate. I was disappointed with the way it transpired, and he made it pretty clear he didn't want to be here. Now, that sounds pretty bad on behalf of Green, but it says what do we got here? Green said, so this is Blake Green said, Warriors owner Mark Robinson hadn't personally spoken to him before Robinson publicly revealed the veteran wouldn't be re-signed after this season. So if you've pretty much been the only really calm head there, except for probably Tohu Harris.
Oh, and Tuivasa-Sheck.
Yeah, but he's a flashy, talented, skilled player. He's not a game controller. He's not he's not the best role model for young players coming in, because he's still got just a head on him that explodes and makes dumb mistakes. But Green's been tutoring Nicarima and Channel Harris Tavita and all this sort of stuff. And then for the owner to come out public and say, yeah, Green won't be here next year. And Green's like, well, okay, cool. That's pretty shitty. So if he gets offered something better, he can leave. And in all honesty, I don't know if Payton's really got a leg to stand on by being cut about it, because he's already knocked back the club himself.
Well, yeah. So I think he would. He does have a leg to stand on in the fact that he's not the guy who said that about Green.
No, but he's also said that he's not going to be there if
that's fair enough. So Payton might have, had a private conversation with Green saying, I'm leaving too, but I'd like you to come out for the rest of the year. If you know what I mean? That could have happened. I can't tell you if it has or not. For the rest of the year, it does leave Warriors in the fucking lurch, though. Like you said, he was their calming influence in that team. So, are Newcastle playing Warriors again this year?
I know, Manly's got him this weekend.
Yeah, just give me a look. But yeah, so Todd Payton, it's been pretty funny how this whole thing's transpired.
They're
playing on the 29th of August.
Coaching job. There you go.
Sorry?
He could talk himself out of a coaching job.
Well, see, me and Adam. Adam called me last night, and we it was supposed to be like a 5-minute chat about how the game has been. It turned into like a 45-minute conversation about everything that's going on, and we were talking about how interesting what's happening at the Warriors is right now. Like, Adam's shaking his head. I don't know if he wants me to talk about this or
no.
what?
I'm just shaking my head. Like, they're making the Broncos look like they're being run as a gold standard.
So from what's transpired ever since Steve Kearney was fired. So Steve Kearney was fired for a multitude of reasons, and one of them, I believe, was his manager, Isaac Moses, getting put in front of the NRL tribunal as a manager. And then Warriors are trying to clean out anyone who is managed by Isaac Moses, which does include Blake Green. So that's one of the reasons they got rid of Kearney, and another reason was they straight up weren't performing.
I think
you can't really blame them for what's happening this year.
Yeah.
But it's interesting what happens after. So what's his name? Cameron George, the CEO, has come out and said he's going to find the right coach.
Yeah.
Right coach. So me and Adam touched on it a couple of weeks ago. Jeff Tuvey, a premiership winning coach, has put his name down. He said no without even interviewing him.
Yep.
Super suspicious and super weird that you're not even going to interview an ex-NRL premiership winning coach. The next one was...
Premiership grand final coach.
Oh, sorry. He didn't win a grand final. Oh, okay. So he made the grand final. Next one was the Walker brothers. So... When Adam heard that, he was licking his lips because, they've got such an attacking style. It's so different to the NRL. It would have been interesting. Supposedly, they had an interview and they got told no also. And then, so Todd Payton's been interim coach. It's been firming that he was going to be the coach for a long time. Then it turns around and goes, he doesn't want the job. He publicly told NRL 360, I don't want to coach the Warriors next year.
Yeah. On live TV.
Whew. Yeah. So then on the list now is Nathan Brown, which is another interesting factor because the theory behind him is that he's a club builder. So that's what he did at the Dragons. He left 2 years later, they won a grand final. That's what he did at Newcastle, got fired. Fuck knows what's happening then this year. So, that's his thing. But
was that only last year he was there?
Yep. We got fired in round 2019 last year.
Man, time means nothing right now.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So, it's super cool. But then it's come out and it's rumoured that Nathan Brown is hesitant to take the Warriors position because this is with his third team in the NRL he's coached. And that's his NRL. I'm not talking about when he coached
St.
Helens over in English Super League and won a Challenge Cup. So this will be his third chance. He is hesitant about taking it because he will believe that if he fails with 3 teams, he'll never get another NRL head coach gig. Which you got to understand, that's pretty. When you think about it, you don't kind of blame him because and what he's practically saying is, I don't think I can win a premiership the Warriors. I don't think I can make them a premiership team.
And that's the thing. Like when he says failed at 3 clubs, I don't think he's failed at either club. He's made both clubs better.
But he's been fired by 2 clubs already. So if he thinks it's the same situation when he leaves. What?
Hasn't Bennett?
No. He didn't get fired. He got fired from Newcastle.
And Broncos.
Oh, it depends who you ask. If you ask Seabold, yeah. So it's really interesting because he's practically saying, I don't think I'm going to premiership and this will be my last chance, so I won't take it. My next chance will be a team who I think I can bring to a premiership within 2 years. That's what he's practically saying. And then who does that leave? Like Anthony Griffin at the Warriors?
Yes!
Brian,
Matt Elliott.
Yeah.
Green.
Steve Folkes, Tim Sheens, someone like that.
Steve Folkes is no longer with us, Jarrod.
Fuck. Sorry. That's sorry to everyone who involved in that. So
pretty much what Jarrod's saying is New Zealand bet on themselves, and so far they've lost, and they've lost big because now who the hell are they going to go with?
Yeah, so Cameron Gorge came out and said he's going to find the right coach. He said no to he said no to the Walker brothers, said no to Tuvey. Payton said no. And Brown's hesitant because it's his last chance. So
Cameron George should be coach.
bring the captain coach back and
I'll
put
do
RTS there. No, you failed at C grade.
That's true.
Yeah,
that was player coaching. There's a difference.
Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting who they get. And I think Cameron George kind of put himself into a bit of a corner here with who it is. So it's going to be really interesting. And as we were discussing last week, so what's that, 6 games left? We're around 14 now? 13?
7 games.
13. So there's 7 games left and then final. Realistically,
8 games.
Yeah. Realistically, Warriors aren't going to make the finals this year, which you can't blame them. I'm not saying you can blame them. They start their preseason, November? So you go on your coach a couple months before the preseason starts to set everything up, get his coaching stuff in, know what he's doing, and then you got to look at what's happening with COVID. Are they training in Australia? This, that, and the other. So it's going to be they're running out of time, essentially, to find that coach and to do it properly. And whoever it is, whenever someone takes a Warriors job, you're under so much pressure straight away because you've got such a talented team who's underperforming.
They need Bill Belichick.
So?
They need Bill Belichick.
Who the hell's that?
The coach of the New England Patriots.
They need Jack Gibson, a proper coach.
Anyone.
It's going to be... Yeah, I just think Cameron George is really, really screwed up here, to be honest. And
talking about screwed up, Corey Norman's been dropped, and people are talking about the Gareth Widdop swap. We're not going to get into that because there's not much credence to this, not much depth to this story. Like McGregor said, it's the first time Norman's been dropped in 18 months. And there's already talk about a swap between.
Yeah, and he was an Origin player last year. Origin started. It was really funny because going back to that phone call me and Adam had, Adam asked me to do some stuff on Facebook. I got off the phone call, looked up Facebook, and that was the first headline. And I had to call Adam back, and it was like, "Oi, check this out."
What I say?
Yeah. Oh, it's Buzz Rothfield. It makes no sense.
Yeah. As soon as I heard Buzz Rothfield on it, I'm like, yeah, man, he's doing anything to get headlines nowadays. Like,
yeah, it was just.
If this comes out that it's true and actually happens, well done, good on you, old fella. But the logistics, one of this happening, to the fact that Widdop's already said, yeah, I could come back to the NRL in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I never know what's going to happen in my journey. And then it's also stated that he wants to return the NRL for personal reasons, which is the same reason why he went back to England. There's just a lot of tales to this story that
what shits me off about it is.
So I don't.
What shits me off about it is something like this happening has been talked about for at least 2 weeks. It hasn't just been like happen instantly. whereas Corey Norman doesn't get named and he gets shown that he's dropped from the Dragons squad. And then 2 hours later, there's an article about it. Like,
incidents? We
like,
100% know that as soon as Gareth Riddip's left, his agent's just been sitting there watching the Dragons, waiting for something to happen. And he's on the phone straight away.
It's exactly the same as every time there's a Broncos-Rabbits game.
Oh, yeah.
6 weeks ago, Anthony Seibold said this privately behind closed doors to himself with earmuffs on, and then fucking said it into a bottle as well, that he said something controversial about Wayne Bennett, and then conveniently 2 days before the Broncos-Rabbits game, a big headline about it.
No way.
Oh, my God.
Jeez. Man, where do all these coincidences happen? It must be like... I'm so surprised every time. It's
clickbait.
It's amazing. It's like the story that just popped up like 10 minutes ago. Wayne Bennett was already interfering at South. I'm like, wasn't that the storyline last year and earlier this year? And you're like, get the fuck over it. We don't care. Anyway,
it's just amazing how coincidental rugby league is sometimes.
The thing that shitted me most about this story, I started reading through it, blah 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 blah, and then McGregor's talking about why Norman was actually dropped, and the quote, Corey and Adam's preference is to play on the left side of the field, so we thought the function of the team could improve if we made the tough decision. So basically saying 2 NRL level players can't play both sides of the field. I don't want to play on the right, I play on the left. Or we're going to have to drop one here. Or scissors rocket. Yeah, you can do it.
Do you know what annoys me about it is?
Oh, are you serious?
Dragons have played their best games with Ben Hunt at hooker.
Yep.
And the reason they got him out of the halves is because he wasn't performing.
Yep.
But just because you stick him in the number 6 jersey doesn't mean he's going to that performance is instantly going to come back.
Oh, but you're thinking like the least experienced half gets the most important position. That's the play that they're going for.
Oh, it's just like they've shrouded that whole thing that Ben Hunt got dropped for not being able to play to the standard he's paid to, with the fact they dropped Corey Norman for Ben Hunt.
Yep. He should be playing hooker. McInnes should be at lock, and then he can play all 4 of them.
Yeah.
Or 3 of them, sorry.
Yeah.
But
I never rated Norman too high anyway. I think he's a better fullback, to be honest.
You say winger? Yeah.
No.
Isn't
I
that
wouldn't. I wouldn't mind him. I wouldn't mind it. Yeah, I wouldn't mind him seeing in the centres. He's big. He's fast, and he can create something out in the centres. So.
Yeah, I thought that was, and then you got all this going on. Oh, there's not space, rah. And then Tristan Saylor's on the bench. Supposedly going to get an extended run at 5'8".
Yeah, because they put their probably minus Dufty, they're one of their most electric attacking players on for 14 minutes last week.
Yeah. And he did exactly what I'd want to see as a fan. He got involved. He made a mistake. He made up for it. That's what I want.
He put a good grubber in, I saw, at one point.
Yeah. He'd already thrown an intercept that South scored up the other end, and then he...
But, look, he's having a crack. He's 19, 20. He's having a crack, which you can't blame him for.
Yeah.
He'll learn from that intercept, which is good, so...
And to me, the biggest news with regards to a reshuffle is Trent Robinson dropping Kyle Flanagan. Now, it's not often you see the top point scorer in the league getting dropped. Not just because he's kicking conversions, but he's scored a few tries. He's been setting up a few tries. But Robinson made it pretty clear when asked about it this week. He made it clear that he was dropped based on form. He's not injured or anything like that. And he said, it's part of his development. We've been going okay, but we want to keep pushing for more. I've dropped, he's like, and then he's mentioned other players he's dropped, whether it's Joey Manu, Takiaho, or Mitch Orbison. It's part of their development for any player. He also wants to give Lamb a crack. Lockie Lamb a bit more of a crack. But I love this quote. I hate the fact that it's from the Roosters, but this is what you want your coach to be saying. Ronnie goes, I really want us to improve. I want to strive for more. Being okay is not enough. I want to push all of us, coaches and players, to get more out of ourselves. It's exciting, the mindset when you go after games and seasons like that, and I feel like we need to push in that direction. So this is coming from the coach of the team that's won the last 2 premierships. They're sitting in the top 8, top 4. They're not playing the best, but they're still winning. And they drop the halfback that they got over here to develop into the new Cooper Cronk, and he's been doing a freaking damn good job. And they drop him for development. And, like, if you've got a coach who can make those calls on a team that's been this successful, it only brings even more confidence to the club, I would say, as a whole.
Yeah, and
no one's safe, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, so Kyle Flanagan's, like you said, been playing awesome. You just got to respect the balls of Trent Robinson.
Yeah.
Like, it is literally the equivalent of, dropping Nathan Cleary.
Yeah.
It's the same concept. They're both the form halves of the competition. And he's practically saying, mate, you're doing well, but I've seen some lazy parts.
Game you need to develop.
Yeah, I've seen some lazy parts of your game. Maybe you're not picking this up quick enough. Go back and train.
Yep.
And
that's literally what it's been.
Yeah. So
if you're a Takiaho fan or holder in fantasy, I was thinking of dropping him this week, but after this, I'm keeping him. Still probably be kicking the goals for him, I would say. Let's have a look.
It'd be good to see Flanagan come back to this with a good mindset. Like, okay, got dropped. I'll do this, and this, and I'll come back better.
One thing that
which he probably will.
Sorry. Yeah. And that's the thing, though. Like, one thing that Robinson, you could see in that whole interview, and the reason why he's so bloody good, he hasn't actually mentioned anything of what he needs to develop. Because obviously, if he puts that out into the media sphere, then that's something that other coaches, players will look to exploit when he comes back, or at least test out. He just said for development. He didn't say anything further than that. Little sneaky bugger. Anyway, that's pretty much everything in the off. Oh, sorry. And he did make a point of mentioning Boyd Corder when asked about it. He could still be up to a fortnight away. So this is still from a head. He took it training. He's back running. He's back in the gym, but he's not doing any contact training. And
I'm really worried about this.
He did make a point that they're not concerned of any long-term effect. They're just not in a position where they need to rush him back.
Okay.
And he's very big on players making the call of whether they're fit to play or not. And if he's saying he's not right to play, then Robinson's saying that he goes by that.
And look, that comes into the culture he's built into the club. So, as you said, they're not in a position where they have to play someone of the likes of Boyd Cordner.
Yeah.
Australian captain. They're the leader of their squad, and then they're in a position to go, you know what, my top scoring halfback, you need a rest, you need to do this, that, and the other. That just shows that the Roosters can keep that standard so high. They got people to cover these guys, which is amazing.
How many times do you reckon Mal Meninga and Brad Fittler have called Robinson about Cordner?
I just compare it to the Bulldogs. Oh, we're just going to give Josh Jackson the time to come back. When he is ready. The Broncos.
When we're back in the finals.
Yeah. Broncos going, you know what, Payne Haas, mate, you got a lot to develop. We're not ready for you to have the team. We're going to bring in another front row this week. That is the equivalent of what Trent Robinson is doing right now.
Love it. We're not going to get into the Tavita Payne guy calling other clubs stuff because it is a certain team's hooper, and we need a couple of weeks before any of it's confirmed because Yeah, we know what the reporting of Fox Sports can be like sometimes. All right, let's get on to team list for round 13. We'll smash through the casualty ward. Not much of an update from Sunday's episode, Sunday session. We've mentioned Boyd Cordner already. West Tigers sensation Harry Grant will be missing this weekend, as will Alex Twile, who only just returned. He picked up a knee injury. Harry Grant will be, it's considered minor and should be back in round 14. So off that knee, and Twile's rib complaint should only be a week. Bradman Best, sidelined indefinitely after suffering a syndesmosis injury. He's expected to meet with a medical expert for further advice with surgery a possibility. I'd be probably cutting him if he's in your fantasy side. I'm talking to myself there. Meanwhile, Broncos playmaker Anthony Milford is expected to miss a month. Wow, after tearing his hamstring at training. I didn't realize it was going to be that long. Grade 2 tear. Let's have a look. Ooh, I missed this. In other news, Melbourne Storm centre Marion Seve required plastic surgery on a cut to his ear after suffering a head knock in the 26-16 win over the Knights. That's kind of different. So
What was that?
Marion Seve is getting plastic surgery on his ear.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be out for a few weeks. Justin Olam is racing the clock to be fit for the match against the Bulldogs. So one of Melbourne's things will help out there. And Michael has been named to return, but John Asiata will not after having one game back, and then he's now.
I'm just reading. Someone finally got Wayne Bennett to talk.
Yeah, he said out of bullshit.
What?
Is that the one where he goes out of bullshit?
Absolute bullshit.
Absolute
about
bullshit.
The Seabold thing.
I know.
Someone got Wayne Bennett to talk. Yes.
That's on. It's the same story though. Same story every time.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go on to the signings. There's been a few big ones. So as mentioned earlier, Blake Green was granted an immediate release from the remainder of his contract with the Warriors. He's since signed on with the Knights at least for the remainder of the season. Is likely to join Mitch Pearce in the halves.
I'm legitimately in love with this.
Moving to a hooker.
I love it. You know what? You know what the advantage is right there?
You got two old slow guys in the halves.
But someone else in the team can kick.
Yeah, that's true. That's a big
gosh. And another thing, he's going to make Kurt Mann pass the ball. And then on top of that,
didn't he score
Blake Green
weekend for you?
Kurt Mann.
Yeah.
No, he passed the ball to Bradman Best. And guess what Bradman Best did?
Scored a try.
Broke through 3 players when Kurt Mann passed him the ball. Happened right in front of me. And Blake Green will actually pass the football. I'm stoked. I'm so happy about this.
Yeah, it's a good sign. It's it'll be interesting to see if anything's extended after this year. No, he did.
Yeah.
He got extended, didn't he? That was part of it.
Oh, to be honest, I couldn't tell you. I just like.
I'll have to have a look. I swear I saw it on one article. This one doesn't have it.
Look, next year I believe Newcastle are going to lose more than what they've lost in SASA already. To be honest, because you've got, you got Jaden Brayley, Connor Watson, Kurt Mann, and to have Blake Green, they're not going to be able to fit them all in. Yeah. They all are NRL standard players, so it'll be interesting where they will go and what that happens to them. So
next one up is one of Sandy Shipley's favourites in Ricky Latelli. So he was one of Sonny Bill's team members at Toronto Wolfpack. Melbourne Storm have signed him for the remainder of the 2020 season. And out of the 3 signings, I think this one's going to have sneaky good value with the promise of outside backs at the moment.
This is going to be huge for Melbourne. He's got a premiership winning centre just casually coming in. It'll be massive. Huge
for him. And he's been one of those players that in that Sharks premiership side, he's kind of like Steve Bell in the Manly side, that overlooked player who always just did their job.
And there's definitely nothing wrong with him. He's strong defensively. He's got a bit of flair in attack, and
he's going to
fit right.
He'll fit right
into that. Yeah, he'll fit that right into that Melbourne squad under Bellamy, I reckon.
So he's still going to serve a 2-week mandatory quarantine period up at Twin Waters in Queensland. Oh, it's coming out today that the Storm and their accommodation, everything with their families, is costing the NRL about $100,000 a week. So if the Melbourne Storm get all the way through to the grand final and they're at the Sunny Coast, it'll be $1.7 million well spent, I'd say, by the NRL.
Twin Waters are loving it.
Oh, yeah. Canberra Raiders have announced that Kurt Baptiste will rejoin after the rest of 2020.
That's another great signing.
Back for Havili.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, who's the young fellow they got there? Is it Starling? Yeah, Tom Starling. He's been playing pretty well for him, though. So it's unfortunate for him, but
Kurt might just go straight in. Havili goes back into the forwards because they're still needing.
Yeah. So I reckon, Baptiste. I think this is like the third time he's signed with Canberra.
Yeah.
Every time Ricky Stewart needs a hooker or someone a bit versatile, he goes, "Oi, Kurt,
let's go, Kurt." Because he was due to play for the East Tigers in the Q Cup this year before it was cancelled.
Yeah, I'll give you $100 if you come down and play for us, and maybe a sneaky beer. That's what it sounds like with Ricky Stewart, just bringing up Kurt Baptiste. Yeah. It's like
if he's playing in Canberra with a beer, you've got Ben Spoke down in Canberra.
Yeah. So it sounds like an old local league coach who's been coaching for like 20 years, comes to a new team, realises he needs a hooker and goes, "Hey, you played Brett 15 years ago? You want to come have another run?" Yeah, that's what it sounds. It's awesome. I love it.
Hey, maybe you should go run the Warriors. South Sydney have re-signed centre winger Campbell Graham on a 3-year extension. So he's there till the end of the 2024 season. All the rest we've already mentioned on Sunday, the Cowboys trio, Jed Cartwright to South, etc., etc. All right, let's have a look at the team list. And I'm still tossing up whether to throw out some crazy ideas here, and we'll see as we go through. So, Thursday night's game, Dragons versus Roosters. And I've got to say, probably the worst week for the Dragons to be making changes, because I reckon Roosters could be here for the taking. This is it's still an okay team, but it's definitely one of the worst Roosters teams I've seen in a long time.
Okay, yeah. So
mainly due to injury, but also some decisions. Everything we said about Robinson and his culture and everything, Lamb coming in as well as some of the other players coming in, it could be just enough of a mix-up to throw Roosters off their game, considering they've also kind of been off their game lately. So do you want to run through the first? Actually, you run through the first one, I'll do the second one.
So Dragons, they're going to have Vaughan and Blake Laurie up front, McInnes at hooker. Then you got Tarek Sims, Tyson Frizzell, and Jackson Ford in the back row. As we discussed, Adam Clune and Ben Hunt are in the halves with Lomax, Aiken, Pereira, Ravalawa, and Duffy to back 5. Then you got Saylor, Josh Kerr, Trent Merrin, and Fui Mayono with Norman and is that Cade Ellis? Yes, Cade Ellis, 21. I think they'll be 1 to 17 there. There won't be many changes.
So
Roosters.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Roosters have very late changes.
Yes.
They got Takiaho and Friend with Lindsay Collins coming up the front row in number 17. Orbison, Nat Butcher coming in the second row as well with Isaac Liu. Lockie Lamb, Luke Keary, Joey Manu. Tupanua is going to play in the centres. Hall, Ikavalu, and Tedesco. I think I'm going to say the Morris twins have been knocked out.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to say.
So you're looking at like the Roosters' strongest back line would have both Morris twins and Tupou.
Yep.
And they're the 3 that are missing, as well as Flanagan and halfback.
So they're missing 4 out of their 7 in their back line.
Yeah.
But look, you bring in Incavalo, scored 4 tries last week. You got the highest try scorer in English Super League history in Ryan Hall. And Tupanua, he's not known as a centres, but he's known for giving every time he's on the field a decent crack. So he'll do all right.
Yeah, Jarrod Warrior-Hargraves was ruled out. That's why Lindsay Collins is at prop.
Yeah, so and then you got Drew Hutchison. He's a backup 5'8/half. And then Famasuli.
Second.
And then Daniel Fafita.
And Max Bailey. Bloody hell.
So you got and then you got the young Butcher. You got Egan Butcher at 21.
He's meant to be that, but
yeah. So it'd be very. I'm still picking the Roosters.
Yeah, I don't know if I am, eh?
Oh, mate, I reckon they're going to do it.
Oh, I'm just looking at that team going, it is James Tedesco's 150th game. It's Mitch Orbison's 300th game. I'm looking at that starting 1 to 13 going, there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 solid first 13 that would be picked in all other first 13s. 5 out of that.
Yeah, but you got Lindsay Collins coming in casually. You've got Tupanua still in there, which is a really good player. You've still got Luke Keary, Tedesco.
They scored most of their other tries on the other side than Manu.
And then, you still got Manu as well. And then, look, I think not enough credit's given to Mitch Orbison. 300 games.
That's
he's the most
epitome
underrated
of
player.
The team, mate.
Yeah, so Adam had a mention of underrated players in a NRL poll. He's easily the most underrated player, up with Jarrod Croker and Alan Tongue. So, yeah, good on him.
So I think there's enough going on in the Dragons' back to score enough points. Because like I said, they've been scoring 24, 24, 28 points. It's them leaking points, and are the Roosters going to be able to get over that 18-point mark that they haven't been able to do for the last 3 weeks?
Who are you going?
I'm going to go Dragons. Because what I'm also thinking, I'm looking at their lineup. I wouldn't be surprised if Ben Hunt does play hooker, Cam McInnes drops back to lock, and Tristan Saylor plays 5'8".
Do you know what I want to happen? And this is going to sound horrible, but I don't know which side Tupanua will be on, but I'd love Tupanua and one as a Lomax or Aiken to possibly get injured, and Fui Mayona to come on the centres, and Fui Mayona and Tupanua just constantly beating the shit out of each other for a whole game. I reckon that'd be fucking fantastic.
I think if there's ever a time the Roosters will be here for the taking, it'll be this week. Holy, I'm just looking at the Roosters, like the changes. Like, in saying that, outside of Melbourne, if a club's going to still come in and win a game after this many changes, it is the Roosters.
Yeah.
And if there is a club
100%.
that could shoot themselves in the foot and lose a game where they've got the best chance to win, it's the Dragons. So I might just put my foot in it there, but I'm going to go out on a limb. All right, first game on Friday night. You got Manly versus the Warriors, both coming off. Warriors coming off a good win over the Tigers. Manly coming off a horrible loss against a red-hot Penrith side. So Manly in the back, Brent Elliott at fullback with Tafua and Garrick on the wings. Tavita Thuna comes in at centres for Brad Parker, who's out with HIA, and Moses Sully. Cade Cust is straight back in the number 6 jersey, and Cherry Evans at halfback after his solid game last week. Fanua Blake and Marty Tapau starting props with Thompson, Siren and Trebojevic, second row on lock, and Danny Levi at hooker. Still whispers that Siren may drop out due to a knee complaint. Interchange, Lachlan Croker, Corey Waddell, Sean Kepi, Taniela Paseka. Albert Hopewadi has been named in the reserves. For the Warriors, Tuivasa Sheck at fullback with Patrick Herbert and George Jennings on the wings. Adam Pompey, Peter Hiku in the centres, with Cody Nikorima and Chanel Harris-Tavita getting first crack at halfback after Blake Green's departure. Jermaine Tanua-Brown and Jack Hetherington, who's just been awesome to watch, starting in the props with Carl Lawton at hooker. Alisi Katoa, Tohu Harris and Judge Tavega. Very underrated back three of the scrum there, I believe. Wade Egan, Adam Blair, Daniel Alvaro and Lachlan Burr on the interchange. with kind of stalwarts from last year, Isaiah Papali'i and Jarrod Beale in the reserves with Jack Murchie and Adam Kieran. I think Manly wins this just because they have to.
Yeah, I'm going Manly.
I
think that
what they've been doing all year not all year, but for games throughout the year aren't going to make it easy. And Manly have not looked. They've looked the best with Cade Cuss at 5'8", so they've got to get more out of Martin Tapau. Kieran and I talked about on Sunday. He hasn't been good. He's just not been good. Fanua Blake showed him up almost every game this year. He did have a barnstorming try a couple of weeks ago to Power, but outside of that, he hasn't really been his damaging.
Yeah. And with the Warriors, I've always said that anyone who has a shit week going into the game, be very careful of them.
Yeah.
Because they always come out pissed off. I don't know how many more times I can say that about the Warriors. They're just copping shit after shit after shit. So I don't think they can. I think that, unfortunately, they might sneak a few games here and there for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But when your most experienced player walks out and goes to another club you're going to play in 3 weeks, and then your coach blatantly turns around and goes, I don't want to coach you guys next year. How do you get up from that?
This is true. Leading from that drama into which will be the most dramatic game of the weekend, second game on the Friday night, and we've got the Rabbits versus the Bronx, Jarrod.
Yeah, so despite everything that's going on this year, or with the media anyway, South Sydney are going to run on with Burgess, Cook and Totola up front with Bailey Siren and Jaden Silva starting. So Bailey Siren was like again the final.
He was there last week too.
Was he? Okay, yeah. And Cam Murray at lock. And you got Adam Reynolds, Cody Walker, Dane Gagai and Campbell Graham with Jackson Paulo, Johnson and Mitchell at forward. I think that's the strongest backline.
Outside of Roberts being out for the season.
Yeah, so to be honest, whatever. All you do
that
is
allows you to put Gagai on the wing.
Yeah. So the only thing is I would change it up a bit, but I've talked about that a lot. So
and Adam Reynolds is listed to play after going off early last week.
Yeah, and then you got Nichols, Knight, Margot, Kula Matotangi at 17, Adams mate, and then you got Jack Johns, Corey Allen, Troy Dargan, and Kurt Dillon rounding out the 21. It might be a few changes of the unknown players, but we'll have to wait and see, potentially. Okay, Broncos, Payne Haas, Jake Turpin, and Flegler up front with Pango Jr. for Fafita. That's a big in for them to get Fafita back. That'll be very interesting. And Carrigan at lock. Carrigan versus Murray, that's very different players, but they're both really good.
I was about to say, they're both like exactly the same player.
No, Carrigan doesn't have the quick play the ball. He doesn't have the explosiveness or the ball skills. He's a defender and meter eater. I would say Carrigan more is. You don't agree with that?
That's how I see Murray. But anyway.
Yeah. I'd say Murray's explosive, ball player, play anywhere. Then you got Dearden and Croft in the halves with Milford dropped completely.
No, he's out injured with a hamstring.
Oh, yeah, he's got a hamstring, supposedly. And then you got Herbie Farnsworth and Staggs in the centres with Xavier Coates, Richie Kenner, and for the rest of the year, they're going to have Darius Boyd playing fullback.
It's probably the best-looking Broncos 1-13 they've had all year.
Yeah. Then you got Isaac Luke, Martin Kennedy, Offa Hengawi, and Ben Tier on the bench with
Martin Kennedy.
Reece Kennedy. Martin Kennedy. Where's he at these days? Corey Pax, Ethan Bullimore, and the big in potentially is Matthew Lodge.
Yeah, he's firm.
And the other... Sorry?
He's firming to play.
And the other big in 21 that not many people are talking about is Jesse Arthurs. I'm guessing he's better than Richie Kenner in their starting 13.
Richie Kenner's been one of their best backs. He's the one scoring their tries.
I think they look a lot stronger with Arthurs and Coates. You know what?
I don't know what Arthurs brings, honestly. Anyway.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Broncos.
Of course you are. Based on...
I just think that they're playing, 2 weeks ago they probably played for 30 minutes. Last week they probably played for 60. I reckon they're due for a 80-minute
65? No. That's the same thing Rabbitohs are trying to do.
But in saying that too, wait, hold up for a second. Oh, wait, you go. So last week they played against
I'm going Rabbits.
And then the week before they played against Melbourne. So out of the last 3 games, this is going to be the weakest team they're coming up against.
Oh, Sharks are weaker than Rabbits.
No.
What's the table looking?
Oh, what does the table matter?
I don't know. I got South in this one.
Look, I think Manly are better than South Sydney, but South Sydney ahead. I think Manly are better than Cronulla, and Cronulla ahead.
Jeez.
And Cronulla ahead of South.
You haven't watched us play lately, have you? Jesus.
And I think the Tigers are better than South Sydney.
Wow.
So, yeah. All right. You're going Rabbits. I'm going Broncos.
I'm still looking at the Broncos going. You got Stags, Haas, Fafita, and Pangai going. There's so much talent, but I'm still looking at who's going to steer them around the park.
They're hoping Dearden. Yeah. Oh, well, we'll just have to find a way and see. I went Broncos. You went
I'm
Rabbits.
so torn here. I don't want Broncos to win, but I don't want Bennett to win either. Anyway. All right, so this is the game we both wanted to go to, but they've cut the tickets, as I guess they have to. So Storm and Bulldogs, first game on Saturday, 3 p.m. up at Sunshine Coast Stadium. Isn't it nice to have a stadium that doesn't have a title, like a sponsor in front of it? Anyway,
give it time.
So Craig Bellamy is resting Pappenhausen after his game last week. So Nico Hines gets the start at fullback with Vunivalu, Addo Carr on the wings. Tom Eisenhuth comes into the centres, as does Justin Olam. Partnering Justin Olam. In the forwards, Jesse Bromwich is back in the starting position with Christian Welch. Brandon Smith is at hooker, remembering Cam Smith is out for 2 to 3 weeks. Felice Kafusi, Kenny Bromwich and Dale Finucane make up your second row on lock, with Riley Jacks, Tino Fasumalui, I got it right that time. Albert Vete and Nelson Asafa Solomon. That's a big bench outside of.
Who's in the halves? Munster and Jacks.
No, Munster and Hughes. Oh, I didn't say that, did I? Sorry, Cam Munster and Jerome Hughes in halves. Bulldogs, much improved over the last couple of weeks. Almost got the lollies over Parramatta last week. Nick Meaney at fullback with Watani Zalesniak and Marcelo Montoya on the wings. Tim Laffey and Jake Averillo after his amazing put down last week in the centres, with Kieran Foran and Lachlan Lewis in the halves. Ofahiki Ogden, Dylan Napa starting props, with Sione Katoa getting the start at hooker over Marshall King. Josh Jackson, Raymond Fatala Mariner, and Luke Thompson are second row lock. Marshall King, Aiden Tolman, Suaso Su, and Remius Smith are on the interchange. No real big ins on the reserves for either side. So I'd see both of them 1 to 17.
Yeah, so I would have loved to see, which kind of annoys me, I would have loved to see this team play Newcastle last week at bloody Melbourne. That is legitimately frustrating. That's probably the weakest team they've put on in about 3 years.
I'd still say it's better than the Roosters side.
Yeah, but it's still a really.
There's no Pappenhausen, no Smith. Otherwise, it's the same as it would be.
Yeah, but the centre, you got Justin Olam who's coming back. He didn't play last week.
Their centres has been chop and change all season.
Yeah, they haven't had a definite centre. So I just think losing Smith, that's like losing 3 good players.
Yeah, 3 other players. That's the hard thing.
And then, losing Pappenhausen. Nico Hines, don't get me wrong, he's a great player. really good player for the Sunny Coast last year. If Harry Grant wasn't in the team, he was going to be their best player by far. He was an absolute weapon, so he's really good. But you've still lost Pappenhausen, and the best example of what happens when you lose Pappenhausen is go look at the try he scored last week.
Yeah.
Not many people in the NRL could actually do that, unfortunately. So that's what you lose. And Newcastle at that moment were attacking the line for about 5 minutes straight, and then Pappenhausen just turned it straight on him. So it was really cool. It happened right in front of me. I wasn't even mad. It was just awesome. But
so still winning by 20 instead of
instead of 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a big loss, but
last time Smith missed a game, Munster went off. So he just has to take more leadership. They'll be fine.
Okay. And then next game, Newcastle versus Tigers. So Newcastle at home at McDonald Jones with more injuries from last week. So Safidi in the front row with Clemmer and Kurt Mann at hooker. And you got Guerra and Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon still has to pass concussion protocols to play, and with Barnett at lock. Barnett's been an absolute weapon for him the last couple of weeks as well. And then you got Pearce and Green in the halves, Shibasaki and Tuwala with Moga dropped and Best injured. And then you got Stafford, Toa, Heimel Hunt, and Kalen Ponga at fullback. Then you got Phoenix Crossland, Josh King, Essa, and Brodie Jones with Randall, Hoy, Lino, and Mimosa.
Yeah, what's Tex Hoy done wrong, considering he was there when they had a stronger team, and now they've got a weaker team? He's not there.
I don't know. I am very surprised, especially considering Phoenix Crossland missed a few really important tackles last week.
Yeah,
and he's only a half. Like he is a 6. That's all he is. So I'm really surprised with Tex Hoy at number 19, to be honest. All right. So with the Tigers, you got Russell. Holy shit, Russell Packer's back.
Yep.
Moses Mbai and Alawai up front with McIntyre, Leilua, and Eisenhofer at lock.
So Mbai's just from centre to hooker.
Yeah. And then you got Marshall and Brooks in the halves with Tommy Talau moving from the wing with Leilua back as well. Mm-hmm. And then you got Nofaluma and the debutant for the Tigers from the Roosters to fit Sonny Bill in. Let's see if I can get Asu Kepoa.
Yeah.
Kepoa, and then you got Adam Dewey at fullback with McKaylee, Blore, Lawrence, and Walters. Around at 17 with Seyfarth, Garner, Josh Reynolds, and Elijah Taylor. That is a lot of experience between 18 and 21 for the Tigers.
Sounds like I looked at that going.
That's close to 500 games. Because you got Taylor would have played.
Elijah Taylor there, who's played hooker like half his career.
Yeah, that's really weird. And you got Josh Reynolds, who would have played at least 200 games. Reynolds, Taylor would be close to 300 games, wouldn't he?
Oh, I reckon
he would. Yeah, and then you got Garner and Seyfarth, who would at least done 50. So that's close to 500 games.
Yeah. Maguire likes having a half on the bench.
Yeah. So who are you going?
I'm scared of Michael Maguire.
So you're going Tigers?
Yeah, well, the last time they put in a shit performance, they then came out and belted the Broncos 48-0. Then ran up. They took it up against Parramatta and then smacked the Broncos.
Okay, so they played 175 games.
Elijah Taylor.
Yeah, he's been... Wow.
He's been injured a lot, I guess.
Yeah, I just think he's been around for the last 25 years, that's all.
God, I got a fat finger now. Anyway, I'm going to go Tigers, I think, in this. Knights are still just so hit and miss, plus the fact that last week was such a physical game. Plus you got Blake Green coming in with, again, another different centre pairing. Kurt Mann.
Yeah, see, that's what worries me. Our back
it's a lot of change.
Our backline looks very weak. So they've, Anari Tuala, Shibasaki, which in saying that too, with those two in the centres, they never lost. for Newcastle, those two in the centres. But losing, and I know he's only played like 7 games or something, losing someone like Bradman Best, he's just such an attacking threat out there compared to those other two. So it'd be really interesting, and it will be interesting how Blake Green and Mitchell Pearce play, considering they're kind of the same player.
Yeah. It's funny, like last week I found a really easy week to tip because pretty much all the favourites won, except I did the dumb thing and went loyalty and tipped Manly. Whereas this week I'm like, fuck, man, there's some up and down games. This should be the match of the round, I guess, with regards to the top end of the table. So the last game, prime time on Saturday night, you got Penrith versus the Raiders. So Penrith, Caleb Atkins at fullback with Mansour and Malachi Watene-Zelezniak on the wing. On the wings with Brent Naden and Stephen Crichton in the centres, Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary in the halves. So Charlie Staines is out with a hamstring injury. And
Penrith are unlucky on the wingers, aren't
they? No. In the forward pack, you got Tamo and Fisher Harris as starting props. Coruscant at hooker with Kickout, Martin and Yo. Second row and lock with Tyrone May, Spencer Linu, Moses Leota and Zane Tenavato on the interchange. A few whispers around this week that Sharks are lining up a money play at Tamo starting next season.
Well, they've got to replace Fafita somehow.
Exactly. Nickel Clockstad at fullback with Rapana and Kotrick on the wings, Croker and Scott in the centre. That's probably their most solid backline with regards to people playing in their best position. Sorry.
No. I would move Kotrick to the centres and put one of the young fellas in the wing.
I guess you could do that, but
no. Curtis Scott shits me. That's all.
I know. White and Williams in the halves. Josh Papali, Damus Louis at starting props with Sevilla Havili starting hooker. John Bateman, Elliot Whitehead, Hudson Young, second row and lock with Tom Starling, Tarpany, Ryan Sutton and Corey Hawira Naira on the interchange. Again, don't see any of those teams changing. They'll both be 1 to 17, most likely outside any injuries. I'm going to go Penrith based on form, but I'm not going to be surprised if Raiders get up. They've done it to the Roosters. They've done it to Melbourne this year. Will not be surprised. I'm going to go Penrith just because they've been the best-looking team over the last 3 to 4 weeks, along with Melbourne. It's going to be a good game. And then what are you thinking?
Oh, I'm going Penrith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Penrith. I don't think, like you said, Canberra could sneak one, but unfortunately tipping's done on form, so you got to go with that.
Oh, John Bateman versus Kickout should be pretty good too.
Yeah, I reckon that's one of the 1 second rules in the comp we could actually beat him, to be honest.
Beat who? Who's
beat Kickout? Beat Kickout.
I'm just saying it's going to be a good battle.
I just think Bateman could be like he's got he's strong defensively, but he's an awkward defensively player. Like he's not the best technique, but he gets everybody down, kind of thing. So he's solid. Okay, so the next game.
Good.
There's two
massive top of the
ins.
Table game and then a bottom of the table game.
Yeah, so there's 2 massive ins for both these teams, 1 each. You got Jolliffe and...
Do you want to say who's actually playing?
All right, Gold Coast versus Cowboys. Jolliffe and Pete's is starting at 9. There you go. Fodawaker with Hipgrave, Proctor and Arrow in the back row. Geez, that's a good second row. I rate that. That's hot. That's good. And you got Jamal Fogarty. That's hot. Ash Taylor, David Coughley and Brian Kelly with Sammy and Don in the wings. The big in for them would be AJ Brimson.
He was there last week.
Was he?
Yeah.
How'd he go? Did I not watch that?
Brian Kelly was lights out. He was damn good, man.
Yeah?
Real good. They had Titans would have beaten 4 or 5 other teams last week with the way they played against the Roosters. Yeah, they were in that game. That is, it's finishing touch, just like what they've been missing. Anyway, going to interchange.
Yeah. And then you got Shannon Boyd, Jarrod Wallace, Tyrone Peachy, and Sam Lasoni.
And by Shannon Boyd, he means Tanner.
Oh, bloody hell. Sorry, they've got about 40 kilos in size difference. I'm sorry about that. And then you got, I think he's a bit unlucky to miss out. You got Corey Thompson at number 19 with Whitbread, Clark, and Fermor. For the Cowboys, you got McLean. Maguire's a big in for them with Robson at hooker. Cohen Hess and Mitch Dunn with Tumaloa at lock. The big in would be their number 7, and captain Michael Morgan is back. That is depending on the birth of his child. Josh Hannay has come out and said that he's not going to try and control that because Valentine's Holmes' sister-in-law will kick him in the ass. Ben Hampton at 6 with Lemilu, Opachik, Kyle Felt, O'Neill, and Hamiso Tabu Fido on at fullback. Then the bench, you got Granville, Tom Gilbert, Perret, Emre Perret with Francis Moll at 17. Then you got Wright, Clifford, Masters, and Jensen. So Masters is there.
Rolling it. Masters been in reserves the last couple of weeks.
Okay. So I'm actually going to go Gold Coast on this one.
This is going to be, I'm just looking at those two backlines going, whatever the hell happens, it's going to be hectic out there.
Yeah.
Because there's no one in either backline that could just any single person there could just take the game and run away with it, and you'd have no idea who it's going to be.
Yeah, and then you're going to have the retirement home on the wing with Don versus O'Neill.
Oh, that's great.
That has got to be the...
Don has been killing it again this year. He just scores tries for fun. Don is good. I just see Gavin Cooper wasn't even picked in the whole 17 or reserves. Dropped cold.
Is he injured?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
So he's just not Thurston. So it's big difference.
All right, who are you going?
I don't know. I'll go Gold Coast because they're at home. Like, that matters.
Okay, next game, you're up.
How do I just say Gold Coast when Cowboys have got Morgan, Maguire, Tamalolo, and McLean?
I don't know, because the other guys have got Fodelaker, Arrow,
but they're not.
Ash Taylor, AJ Brimson.
Cowboys played well last week.
Yeah.
Oh, I might go Cowboys, actually.
No, man, I'm writing with a pencil.
Cowboys.
I can't scratch that out.
I'll get back to you. Sharks and Eels. I'll go Eels. No, actually, I'm going to go Sharks. But anyway, we'll get to it. Back.
Oh, my God, you're doing my head in.
For the Sharks, Will Kennedy at fullback, Siani Katoa and Mulatalo on the wings with Dugan and Ramian both back in this week in the centres. Moylan is back at 5'8", with Sean Johnson at halfback, remembering Chad Townsend's still out for a few weeks. Braden Hamanuele and Aaron Woods are starting props with Blake Brayley at hooker. Sifa Talakai has come in with Brighton Okora drops. Wade Graham, the other second row, and Toby Rudolph at lock. Connor Tracy, Jack Williams, Teague Wilton, Royce Hunt on the interchange. Sorensen, Nakora, Trindle, and Goodwin in the reserves. Nakora was dropped on form, no injury there. For the Eels, same 1 to 7 as it's been for a fair while now. Gutherson at fullback, Sevo and Ferguson on the wing, still has no try. Jennings and Blake in the centres, with Brown and Moses in the halves. Campbell Gillard, Paulo as starting props, with Reid Marnie. Sean Lane, Nia Corey, and Nathan Brown in the second row and lock, with Ryan Madison, not named, still coming over concussion right after I put him into my fantasy team. Andrew Davey, Ray Stone, Kane Evans, Oregon, Kafusi on the interchange. and Takarangi on the reserves. And last time Ray Stone was named on the interchange and Takarangi on the reserves, they switched beforehand. So you probably expect the same to happen.
I'm going Para.
I again think this is like the Roosters game. If you're going to have a chance of getting Parrots this week, they've been off. They haven't been great the last couple of rounds. I'm still going to tip them till someone proves it wrong. I think Sharks have enough quality to be able to do that. It's where they get it all together. Matt Moylan back is a plus, but now you've got a running half, and you got two running halves. Whereas Johnson and Townsend work really well because Johnson runs, Townsend stays put. I do like the fact that they kept Will Kennedy at fullback when Moylan came back. I'm going to go Eels, but I'm not going to be surprised in an upset here. All right, value bets, and we're done, buddy.
Okay, you go yours first.
Still pissed Madison off being there. Sure.
What do you got?
First, it means you've got yours ready, right?
No, I have not.
No, I had mine saved. Oh, there it is. So mine is in the Cronulla Parramatta game, actually. I've got Cronulla covering the line at, it's not as big. Yeah, it's 6.5 now. It was a bit higher than that before, but I've got Cronulla covering the line at 6.5. And, what was the other one? Try scorer. Oh, man. I had it saved here. There it is. With Will Kennedy scoring a try.
Okay, so I have Broncos to win. I have Katoni Staggs anytime try scorer. I have Latrell Mitchell anytime try scorer. $25.
Yeah, it could happen.
Yeah.
Latrell's
$25, that's not too bad.
Latrell's been passing more than scoring, but...
Yeah, but look, he all he has to do is hold on to it once and he'll score. Like, he does have the talent to do it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, so mine's a bit of a much safer bet than yours, unless I wanted to up it a little bit. No, I'm good. We'll recover, and then... If I put that into Cronulla winning as well. Yep, cool. And I'll keep that covering the line with Will Kennedy to score, be an anytime try scorer. That's us for this week. For this episode, sorry. Good luck coming into round 13. Some big games for those fringing on the top 8. Like we said with Kieran, the top 4 have actually got a bit of a gap over 5th place at the moment. Sorry, it was the top 3 have got a gap over top 4, over 4. Two win gap there. So Eels have a 4-point buffer over Roosters and Raiders going into this round. But interestingly, from 6th through to 9th, there's only 2-point difference between the Sharks, Knights, Rabbitohs and Sea Eagles. So a lot on the line for those teams. West Tigers, depending on other results, could jump all the way into the 8 from 10th if Rabbitohs and Sea Eagles both lose and Tigers win. So there could be a bit of movement going on, and either the Cowboys or the Titans will be able to put themselves 2 wins above bottom, considering they play each other. So lots still to happen in this round. Good luck to your teams, and again, thank you to everybody for tuning in. Continue to share, rate and review us on iTunes, Apple Pod, and Spotify. Jump on the YouTube, have a look on there. We're going to get the latest videos up as soon as possible. And other than that, we'll talk to you guys Monday or Tuesday morning.
See ya.
Bye.